Well, hello there, peeps. Thanks for coming back to the channel. Nice to see you. I have been, I think, growing a little weary of the cheap Chinese guitar thing. Because as fascinating as I find it, and I do find it fascinating, I'm running out of room around here. I'm not the kind of guy that just, buys one, reviews it, and gives it away. I don't have that big of a channel, nor do I have a website. And I'll move this camera a little bit. But, I end up with a bunch of them. Some of them have had, some trouble getting into shape. Case in point here, my Fogil. This really took me some doing to get it to where I could deal with it, But I'm not going to talk about this one today. But this is just one of those ones. It's just an inexpensive Chinese guitar bought on the recommendation of someone else. And it took some doing to get it to where I would call it, all the way useful. I hate to condition something just to say, well, I could use it for some things. I like to have it to the point where, I don't care how little I paid for it. I want it to be something I can use when I feel like using it, not just for whatever it's good for. So my thing has been Strats lately. I've got a beautiful Stratocaster. I've got a 2004 Mexican Strat in sage green that you may have seen on my channel here, and I love it. It is a great Strat. It's the all-around guitar. It's probably my main guitar of all time. And I love the sound of a Strat, and I love the fact that different Strats have different sounds. I wouldn't call myself a Fender, collector. I mean, I'm a fan of Fender, sure. I'm also a fan of Gibson and any number of other big names, including the ones that, are not as expensive, like Ibanez. I'm a huge Ibanez fan. But in the pursuit of finding a flexible Strat, a multitasking Stratocaster in the cheap, import guitar range, I've tried a few, and it's taken me some work to get to where I could call it successful, like that Fogil right there. But today, I'm trying one that I see all over the place. People talk about it. Friends of mine have bought them and spoken highly of them, but for some reason, most of them get turned back in. I don't know, they return them. I don't know why. They give them away, sell them. Me, I want to know what this sounds like. This is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a Donner DST-200, I think. And I've got Donner gear, but I don't have any Donner guitars. This box came just like it is. They did not put it in a larger box. It came right in this box. So, and I got to tell you, it's not a light guitar. So I'm a little worried that its own weight may have been a stress on its own neck. And although the box doesn't seem to be too destroyed, I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I'm not going to go through all the usual, all the big fanfare. Let's just open the thing. I'm going to open this and I'll be back in a moment. Thank God for the Razoo. Everyone needs a Razoo. Okay, so I've mostly got the box open. It's cut now. Let's open it up. Ooh. Gig bag. Nothing else in the box. Nothing. Away you go. Let's take a look at this. Now, I thought that this was going to say Donner on it. My other Donner gear has the Donner label on it. But that's just got that little logo thing. That's Donner's new thing. It's not a bad case. It's padded to some extent. It's pretty tough fabric. Let's see if there's anything in the pocket. Yeah. Inexpensive Donner instrument cable. You know, that's never a bad thing. You don't have to include that, so I don't make fun of it. They do include it. I'm grateful. A strap. Ooh, it's a soft cotton kind of strap too. I like those. I prefer those. What else we got down in there? The Wame, the twang bar, the tremolo arm, the freaking whammy. We've got our usual little ubiquitous 2 Allen wrenches, one for the saddles, one for the truss rod. Anything else in here? Nope, that's it. Now, truth be told, I got this through Temu. So apparently Temu sells a different package than Amazon or some of the other sites that sell Donner guitars, because I've seen them come with tuners, picks, strings, all that crap. Of course, now that package also comes with a little amplifier, which I thought was pretty cute, but I didn't actually want that. I bought the guitar just like it is, so I'm actually glad that they gave me what few items they did give me. You know, that's all you need right there. Let's see what we got inside our gig bag. Nice, easy zipper. Prom gown. One last look in the case. Gig bag, empty. That's good. That is a pretty nice little gig bag. That's a nice little gig bagaroo. All right. 'Tis prom night. Boom, boom. Off comes the gown. Now, again, I'm going to be watching this with a very critical eye, because that shipped in one little triangular box. No support on the neck, nothing. Okay? And it's not a light guitar. Okay, first look at the head. Kind of nice. That's a matte black. The tuners are the closed back sort of vintage style there. Oh yeah, there's play in them. So these are going to get replaced, you know that. Anyway, let's move on. Little chord chart here. Little Donner tag there. Okay. Let's see how hard it is to untangle this. Adult-proof twine. Okay, ready? Here we go. Now let's proceed one piece at a time. Protected strings. Look. Skunk stripe down the back. Thin profile neck. There's glue up here on the head. It's not a dove joint or anything like that, but yeah, that's a little impact crater right there. I doubt you'll see that. I can hardly see it. But there is a little impact wound right there. It's strange though because it has glue on it. They must have leaned it against something. It just feels like a dent. That is, that's pretty good maple. Oh, way better than that Fogil. Already I'm liking that. Let's keep going. Yep, nothing else in there. Look, look. Ooh, that's pretty. Take off our little cat protector. Ooh, silica gel. Oh, good, because I was hungry. Ooh. Tease. So look at this now. Let's have a peek with a shipping eye. What's the first thing you look at when you think about shipping damage? Where is it most likely to crack, break, separate, incinerate, explode, implode, go nuclear? Probably right at the neck. I want you to look close at that neck joint. That is pretty goddamn tight and sweet. And I don't see a boo-boo. Looking for boo-boos. It's even got a little bit of figuring in it. That's a pretty nice piece of wood. That neck is really, you know, if you don't mind a little knot here and there, which I don't at all. I think it lends character. And that little thing, I don't know what the hell it is. I gotta figure it out. Yeah, it's glue. Ah. That is not a dent. Feels like a dent because the glue has like an edge around it, like a crater, but it's actually just glue. I'll sand that off or do something to get that off. I wouldn't sand it. Let's look at that finish. Look at that finish. Isn't it nice? That is black, baby. That is black. Nice Donner neck plate back there. Now you see, this is something that I don't agree with. Underneath the Donner neck plate, there is a plastic insert. You see that sort of gasket underneath there? Why? Why? If you have screws connecting wood to wood, and you have a plate there to lend it, to give it resistance so that your screws don't over countersink into the wood, why would you put a piece of soft plastic underneath that? So that's going to come out eventually. So I'm looking now really close at this finish. The front. The pots. Nice knobs. They turn nice. Those don't feel real cheap to me. Then again, how can I really tell? But sometimes when you turn them, they hiss a little. Or they don't. They get crunchy halfway through. These are smooth. These are smooth. And push, pull, pull, push, coil splitter for this little surprise down here. Let's take the stuff off the strings. Alrighty then. Little cheesecloth. Well, right out of the box, that action, I could join an archery contest. That's Robin Hood action. You could shoot arrows off that. But that's okay. That is fully expected. I did not expect it to come out of the box set up. In fact, I prefer that they show up not set up. You know why? Because it forces you to do it the way you want it. If it's already mostly set up and it feels kind of okay, you're liable to settle for the mostly okay when you could have it perfect. And some guys will say, close enough, I'm not going to fuck with it. Well, I always tend to fuck with them a little bit. Very few have I not had to. But this one, yeah, the action's high, but I want to see how straight that neck is. I know I don't have much light here. It's got a bit of front bow. Can you see it? I don't have my glasses on, but yeah, that's got a little bit of relief in it. A little more than I would want. And if I suck that up, I bet you that action will get real nice. So let's look at the features. You've got 2 singles, right? And a humbucker with a coil splitter. I'm not going to go into the history of those kinds of pickups, but let's try and get some kind of a tune on it. First of all, before I start tuning this, I'll make sure all the strings are sitting correctly in the saddles. See the saddles? Not the most expensive, but they're also not those really disgusting jagged ones either. And you know, you got the 6-screw tremolo, and without taking the back off it, which I'm not going to do for the camera, it's got a thin blade, cheap, inexpensive tremolo, back there. Block. It's a thin block, but the guitar is a very nice weight, and it feels really solid in my hand. I got to tell you. And with them now tuned, I expect that relief bow is going to be a little bit worse now. The frets are medium size, maybe even a little small. They are not well polished. They are quite rough. But there's no sprout. They're not sharp. Nothing. Up the top, maybe the last 3 are a little bit sharp. Right at the top, right here. But, I'll hardly ever be there. And if I am, my palm won't be touching that. But I'll probably hit it anyway. The strings are crap. They're just crap. Not the loudest guitar I've ever heard, acoustically speaking. But you know what? That's okay. My number 1 Strat, my Fender Mim Strat, my Sage Green Strat, my number 1 guitar of all time, is also not loud acoustically like that. But it sounds great plugged in. That action is so high, I really can't play it like that. And those frets are really terrible. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to quickly plug it in. Just to see. Just to see. What do we got? I'm going to steal the cable from my faux Jill. Faux the hell of it. And let's turn her on. Ready? I'm going to turn it on in position 1, which is the humbucker. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to noon it. Let's noon it. Noon. 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 Clean. There you go. That's the humbucker. That's a bright son of a bitch. Thrill is gone. Thrill is gone from my heart. Well, anyway, there's a lot of output in that humbucker. It's very bright, though. Let's try position 2. You know what? Before we blend them, let's try the humbucker with the coil tap. You lose a lot right there. that intonation is not that far off for action that high. But that's the coil cut on that. So right now we're looking at a standard Strat, SSS. And again, here's the humbucker humbucking. You know, it's not brilliant output, but it's quite a bit. Now let's move on to the middle position. I'm not going to blend anything yet. The center single coil. It's going to be a lot easier to play when I polish those frets. They're really, really crappy. And of course, my favorite pickup is the neck pickup. Let's try that by itself. Not bad. Not bad. And it's really close to the string, too. These pickups are close to the strings, and I'm going to drop that action, which means I'll probably end up having to recess those pickups down a little bit. And that's okay. Plenty of it showing above ground there. Let's try the pots. There's one volume on a Strat. Here's our humbucker. Humbucked. Nice and linear. Let's try the tone. Tone only applies to the neck and middle. There's no tone control. Actually, you know what? For a humbucker, maybe the tone does apply. Let's try it. Go back to the humbucker and try tone. Nope. Humbucker does not have a tone control. It's wide open. That's okay. I usually don't roll off tone on a humbucker anyway. So back to the middle. All right, try the neck tone. That's what it's supposed to do, and they're linear. They don't sound logarithmic to me at all. Now let's try the blends. Here is the humbucker and middle blended, position 2. You can kind of feel the humbucker lending something to that single. Let's cut that coil and see what happens. The coil cut pull is a little hard. It's a little hard. But that's okay. You don't want to hit it by accident, you know? So here it is with the coil cut. It's very bright. Very bright. So, coil tapped. Humbucker in. All right, let's try the number 4 position. The split between the neck and middle singles. It's nice. You know, it's nice. I like it. So without going too gaga here, turn the volume down. I'm going to give the guitar a setup and a fret polish and new strings. And I'm going to adjust the pickup heights where I want them. I'm going to remove that plastic gasket behind the neck plate there. peel off all the plastic tape stuff, and then I'm going to set the amp up the way I like it, and I'll come back and I'll show you how the guitar sounds once it's been acclimated to me. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back. Well, I started doing some work on the guitar. I did quite a bit, actually. I straightened out the neck and I polished the frets up. The neck had a slight relief in it, and I took some of that out to straighten it out. And then I was doing some other stuff here, and look at this. Look at the thick E-string saddle. Can you see that? The thick E-string. The set screw stripped right out. The set screw, I could literally grab it and pull it right out of the saddle. So I need new bridges before I can even play this guitar. So that's a biggie. That really sucks. That means that with everything else that I liked about it, and I was getting ready to give it a good review, that happened. And that is the sign of some really super cheap hardware. So that's something to look out for. I'm going to look in my inventory here and see if I've got some Strat saddles that I can replace these with. And, well, I'll be back then. Hang on. Well, I did a good amount of work to this here donor. If I can free up the cable here. I had to replace that bad bridge saddle. That bad saddle. I had harvested the hardware off an old Fender Strat from years ago, and I still had the saddles in there. Turns out they are an exact match, dimensions-wise, with only very, very tiny, slight design difference. Even the screws fit, so I was able to swap out. Now, I thought to myself, if I'm going to replace one of these bridge saddles, one of these Donner bridge saddles, with a Fender bridge saddle, shouldn't I just replace them all with the Fenders, since I had all 6? But my logic is like this. If I fix one guitar that had one bad saddle with one of those saddles, that means I can fix 5 more like it by using just one of those on each. You can't tell. I mean, the Fender logo is on there, but it's so tiny you can't read it. And, you know, at a glance, there's just absolutely, I mean, you know, can you tell that that thick E string has a different saddle than the rest at a glance? No. It says Fender on it, but who's going to know that but me and you? And I straightened out the neck, and I set the intonation. I took a very tiny sharp edge off these top frets right here. That's all they were. The rest were fine. I mean, there's no sprout whatsoever. Nothing. One tiny little spot right up there. I didn't feel like living with it, so I knocked it off with my little fingernail file. And I've got the pickups at a decent distance from the strings now. And I gotta tell you, I'll just tell you all the bad stuff. The bad stuff is that bad saddle, because it was stripped. And these tuners, you know, they're kind of sucky. One of them, especially the B-string tuner, is very loose. And I can't really fix it. I mean, I didn't want to take it apart and fix the gears inside, but I probably will eventually. It'll turn to just a little bit of play before it catches, you know. But they're actually not too bad of a ratio. They actually do tune pretty well, and they stay in tune. I stretched the strings out. I put some GHS Boomer 9s on here. And those were the bad things. The tuners aren't great. The saddles aren't great. And, of course, the tremolo blade inside is very thin. I'm not going to take it apart and show you, but it's one of the thin ones. But the electronics work perfectly. And I actually really like the sound of these pickups. And I'm very picky about single coil pickups. These actually, they do it for me. The neck is one of the most playable necks. Incredibly flat radius. for a Fender style guitar. I gotta guess that's about it's at least a 12. That could be a 14. But the frets are pretty small, as you can tell. Excuse me, I had to polish them. But I got them pretty shiny. They could probably be better, but for now I just hit them with my nail polisher tool, you know what I mean? Took the surface stuff off them, and they slide without making noise now. I still kind of feel them. A little bit. Not bad. But overall, though, once I got that action fixed, I've got a nice sounding Strat. The weight is amazing. It feels just like my Fender. It's heavier than my Squire, but feels like my Fender. And the neck is, I mean, you know, my playing is shitty these days, but if it were better and I was younger, I'd be able to be very fast on this neck, because I was able to straighten it out, and it stayed straight. The pickups are not too bright. I've been finding on these Strat copies that I've been buying lately that the pickups are always a little bit bright. These are not that bright. They're they're tame, you know. They must have nice tone caps on them. I did not look to see what the tone cap was, but I'm not interested in that. If when I play it, if I like it, that's what I'm interested in. I don't need to open it up and see how big those pots are or what their values are. As long as when I turn those knobs, they do what I want them to do, and they do it consistently, and they don't make any noise, that's all I want. Don't even show me. Don't show me the cap. Don't show me the pot. If it's an 022 and it sounds good and it's tight enough, good enough for me. I don't need to drop out 47 in there, but I've got them if I ever want to do it. You know? And this guitar does offer you that nice coil tap and that humbucker. So, you know, I generally play in the neck pickup on Strats. Pretty close. And in the out of phase positions, of course, there's no noise. I'm going to put my amp where I like it. Tone up a little bit, the bass. A little out there, a little there. Can't be loud because it's nighttime and I have neighbors. This is the day of the expanding band. Shape is my shape, there where I used to stand. It seems like only yesterday look through the glass at ramblers, wild gamblers, that's all in the past. I'll probably cut out a lot of that jamming stuff I'm doing. I don't want to get another copyright strike or nothing like that. But that's this Donner, I gotta say. Some guitars are about the wood, some guitars are about the frets, some guitars are about the neck shape, you know. All around so far, experimenting with inexpensive import Strat style guitars. I gotta say that with the exception of the bad hardware, that bad saddle, and those shitty tuners. And, you know, I would like the frets to be a little bit bigger, but that's okay. Small frets, there's a place for those, you know. Small frets, they're more intimate with the wood. You know, you get a little more tone out of the wood. This guitar, I'm going to say, is about the wood, the weight, the neck, the way it feels. If you like a thin neck, this is a nice thin neck, you know. The finish on the neck is, I guess, it's what you would call satinized. It seems to have a finish, so it's not just bare wood like that Fogil over there. That's kind of bare wood, really. This one, nope. It's you can feel the cure of the wood. You know, it's not the cheapest grade of maple I've ever seen. I'm not sure what that fretboard is. I don't know if it's rosewood. A lot of times they use Purple Heart now. You know, and the body wood, you know, poplar, okume, whatever else. I don't care what that wood is. I know that it's the right weight and has the right resonance for the kind of Strat that I'm looking for, which is kind of a nice scooped sound. Something that you can play softly on, you know, if you want to, and you know, roll the tone off and just get a little dreamy with it. This is a nice soft cotton strap that they gave me with this. It fit on it easily, and it is a Donner. I looked at that patch cable that they gave me with the guitar. It's actually not that cheap. I mean, it's not a real expensive one, but it's actually kind of nice. It's not bad. I put it in the gig bag where it will live in case I ever need a cord. I'll keep an eye on this neck and see if it moves at all, but I was able to straighten it out very easily with a truss rod. I don't know if it's a dual action truss rod or not. I really don't know that, but I know that when I straightened it out, when I had the strings off, it didn't take much effort to straighten it out, and it seems to have stayed. I've got it pretty straight right now. Sometimes I put a little bit of relief bow in it, but this one, where the frets are so small like that, I think I can get away with playing it kind of straight. I didn't find any high frets yet, you know. I mean, you know, eventually you come across one, maybe, you know. And when you've played 100 songs and you're like, oh, I don't usually hit this note. Hey, is that buzzing? You know, something like that. I haven't found one yet. But I'm going to say, if you got $121 to spend on Temu, and you like a nicely weighted, very playable Strat, you know, you could shoot holes in the hardware, sure, be ready for that, you know. But for $121, this thing, this is as close to a Fender, I think, of anything I've tried. And I've tried a lot of them. So, this is my first ever Donner guitar. I've got other Donner gear, but not a guitar. The only thing I've seen that comes close to the attention to detail of the you know, the fixtures, you know, and the design and the weight and all that. The only thing that comes as close to the original manufacturer's design is probably a Firefly. You know, I'm a big fan of Firefly, and now I'm apparently a fan of Donner. You know, it's my first ever Donner. I'm gonna give it a shot down in practice and see how that goes. This thing feels like a real gigging guitar to me, and yeah, I can't really think of anything really wrong other than what I already told you about. So, saddle is fixed. Those tuners could be replaced, but they work. You know, they work. I like these pickups. I don't think I'm going to need to swap them out. I really don't. I can live with that. And it depends on how it sounds when I plug it into my big stack, you know, down in practice. I don't ever play, you know, death metal distortion with these things. You know, but if I want to put a little bit of cheese on this, let's see. Put the humbucker on. Humbucked. Again, I can't get loud because of my neighbors. Not bad. That's the neck. Here's the middle. Here's the number 2 position with the humbucker humbucked. And here it is with the coil cut. very Strat. I am Superman, and I know what's happening. The humbucker coil cut by itself. Nice bite. Little less output, but nice bite. How tight that is? Not how tight I am, how tight it is. At this tiny little volume, I can't show you what this thing can do, but that's the Donner Strat. Thanks for tuning in. A lot of guys will recommend trying this Donner, and I will add my name to that list. I think it's worth, like I said, I went to Temu. My total, everything shipped to the door, was $121, and I got it in a week. So, you know, this is not the package that Donner sells. Donner sells a package with a little amp and everything. This is not that package. This is the DST-200, which is the designer series. Oops. That's a matte black finish on the face of that headstock, which I think is kind of neat, because the body is, of course, super high gloss. And I mean, it's really high gloss, and it is flawless. I like that pickguard and everything. It's a pretty guitar. If I had seen this guitar coming, I probably wouldn't have bought that faux Jill over there, but now that I've got it, I've got it. Thank you, guys. If you haven't already, subscribe, drop a like on the video, and yeah, you know, come back soon. I'll probably be kicking something else around the apartment.